Nyaga, and I am Dr. Nancy Nyaga, a clinical psychologist by profession and a certified life coach. This is our first episode on building healthy relationships, and especially in this new normal. So we are going to share a few tips on how you can sustain, maintain, and build healthy relationships during this time. Yes, as we think about how to build healthy relationships, especially during this season of COVID-19, we're going to share 5 S's that you can use just as a guide to help you see how well you're doing or what you need to improve on, so that you can enjoy this space. As everybody is uncertain about when this is going to end, we don't know whether it's going to be next month or next year, but during this time, you can use the 5 S's to build your relationships and sustain them and enjoy your life and thrive. Remember, we have been asked to move away from our offices and our churches and everywhere else and businesses, and we have had to settle in our relationships, in our homes with our families. So it is important that we learn how to build our relationships and enjoy our lives, because that is the only space that has been left for each one of us. On to our first S. Our first S is structure. Having a structure for your family, for the relationships that you have at home. When we talk about the structure, we are talking about time. Time when you wake up and time when you're going to sleep. And if you have a family with children, this time is set up for everybody. That you have a time as a couple, a time as an individual when you wake up and what you're waking up to do. And you have a time and a structure for when your children wake up and also when they sleep. When you have built that, then you have time for activities. If you choose to wake up at 7 a.m. and sleep at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or midnight, that you fill your day with activities from 7 a.m. to midnight. What activities are you going to have during the day? Why is it important for us to have a structure? Work gives us a structure. Going to work, going to businesses gives us a structure. What we have lacked during this space of COVID-19 is a structure. So we can have a semblance of normalcy by building our own structure at home, by creating a time frame. When we wake up, when we go to sleep, when we are going to have our meals, when we are going to work if you're working from home, when your kids are going to have their virtual school, when they can have their breaks. And let these be active breaks. Then they can skip, they can play with pillows, they can do whatever they may want to do. When you'll have time for watching your movies, when you'll have time for keeping your social connections, when you have time to pray or meditate if you're a spiritual person, when you'll have time for hobbies, maybe reading a book, maybe knitting or crocheting, maybe doing your crossword puzzles or doing your Sudoku. All these are very healthy and important activities during this time that you can enjoy with your family. So once you set up the structure, please keep it, because your system will adjust to it. The structure will also help you be able to have a healthy night's sleep, because you've worked throughout the day and your body is now ready for the time that you're clocking out from the day, that you're able now to have a good night's sleep. And as you set up your structure, we'd also advise for those who are working from home that you have a culture of clocking in and clocking out from your work, just the way you do it when you go to work in the morning and when you leave your work in the evening at 5, that you announce to your family, work is done, it is now family time. So it can be dinner time, it can be lunch time, it can be break time, and so that structure is very, very clear. When do I wake up? When do I sleep? When do I eat? When do I do my activities? And when do I spend time with family? Then on to the second S. When we have created structure and we know the activities for the family and for everybody, and when we are working and how we are working, we need to create space. We are in each other's space at home. So probably we are all working from the same room. We are all working from the same space. So we need to create space for where you're going to do your office work if you're working, or your business work if you're working from home. You'll need to create space for your children that they know their virtual school is in that corner. They don't come to daddy's corner or mommy's corner when they are working. If you're just the two of you at home, that you know this is your space for working and the other person has their space for working, that is physical space. We can also talk about psychological and emotional space. That even during this time, we need time to process our emotions, to process our thoughts, to process what's going on with us. And people process this differently. So we need to respect each other's space. When somebody just wants to be by themselves, read their book, and they want to be alone, that you're not in their space asking them, why don't you want to talk to me? Allow them to have their time. Allow them to have their space. Parents, those of you who have teenagers, please listen. Sometimes they just want to be alone. They just want an alone moment. Allow them to be and create time when then they can come out from their rooms and have family time and have meal time with you, or do their watch their movies with you, or whatever activities you can have. When we talk about space, we are also talking about the activities as well. Sometimes what you may enjoy as an individual, as an adult, is not what your teenager or your child will enjoy. So if it is certain movies, we can choose what we can have as a family and watch together. We can allow our kids to watch what they want, and we can also have our time to watch what they want. That is why the number one is so important. If we were able to set up a structure and you allow your children to sleep earlier than you, probably if they are very young, by 8 p.m., they are already in bed. So you have your time between 8 p.m. and midnight to watch your series, to watch your episodes, to watch your movies, and you have your couple time at that time away from your children. And everybody gets their space, gets their time, and enjoys their life. So let us have that structure, and also have space for ourselves, space for our family, and we're going to enjoy ourselves, and we're going to be able to feel like we have a sense of normalcy as we continue in this season. And then to our third S. Our third S is self-care. Oh, this is so important. As a clinical psychologist, I do not know how I need to belabor this point on self-care. Self-care entails exercise, entails a healthy diet, entails observing a good sleep hygiene, entails observing relaxation techniques, entails, being mindful, being in the here and now. Generally, taking care of yourself, not waiting for others to take care of you, and remembering that your wellness is your responsibility. And as an adult, if you have children, that you also teach them small tips of how to take care of themselves, taking care of their bed, taking care of their room, taking care of their items, taking care of their bodies, that they know when they can change their clothes if they are messy, they know when they can clean up, they know when they can do a few things just to take care of themselves. As we take care of themselves, we are able to dissipate and get rid of all the negative emotions, the burnout and the stress we may be suffering, that we will be projecting on our family members and others, not because of necessarily what they have done, but we are overreacting because we are not taking good care of ourselves. So we need to invest in ways of injecting feel-good hormones through exercises. When you wake up and just skip like 100 to 200 counts. You can jog, you can run, you can play hide and seek with your children as a way of exercising. There are so many ways that you can improvise and come up with that will ensure that you're having 20 to 30 minutes of exercise every day. That would be good enough for your psychological, emotional well-being. So when you do that, then go on to having and setting up healthy meals. Discuss with your family members how you can come up with healthy meals. And when we talk about healthy meals, we don't mean expensive meals. You can just have your ugali and spinach. That is a healthy meal. You can have your rice and your green grams. That is a healthy meal. So we can plan and come up with a meal structure as well, where we can be able to build our lives in a healthy way by ensuring that we are having a healthy diet for all the meals, that is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And while doing that, you're also hydrating. You're taking 2 to 3 liters of water a day, and you're not gulping the water down. you're sipping your 2 to 3 liters throughout the day, so that you don't overwork your kidneys by taking too much water at once. And as you do that, you're also enjoying more veggies and more fruits. And in Kenya, we are blessed with traditional vegetables and fruits. And any corner you turn, any kiosk you pass by, there are a variety of fruits that you can enjoy. Whatever you're able to afford, that you can do that for your families and for yourselves. When you take care of yourself as well, you are able then to be able to resolve whatever is happening in the family, because we said earlier, you're not going to be projecting your stresses on other people. You have taken good care of yourself. When you've taken good care of ourselves, then we also can go to our next S. This is so important. This is speaking out. Speaking out within the family setting, being able to express yourself, being able to talk about the issues you're going through, taking into consideration that nobody can be able to read your mind. Nobody can be able to tell what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Even if you've lived together for 30 years as a couple, even if your children are with you for long, that you should not be expecting them to know, we know what mom is saying. So they should be bringing you tea very, very quickly, because maybe they look at you and they know that you expect them to bring some tea. So we need to talk about our needs. We need to talk about how we would want things to be done. We need to talk about where we are hurting, where somebody has said something that hurts you, that you can be able to express yourself. And while at that you're also listening to other people that you're living with, that you're listening to what is happening to them. And sometimes we can listen through observation. There are those who are really quiet. There are those children who will not be talking a lot. Are you observing them as a way of listening to what is going on with them? And then you can engage them and ask, what is happening? I notice you're very quiet today. I notice that you don't look happy today. Do you want to share what is going on? So are we looking out for each other even as we speak out? There are many things that we can talk about in relationships, and when we fail to talk, we actually end up having build-up of a lot of things, and sometimes very negative things. And these ones can spew out at the wrong time in anger, and we end up hurting one another. So during this space, let us express one another. For couples, give each other 10 minutes. For the one who talks a lot, they can get 20 minutes to talk. The one who talks less, they can get their 5 minutes to express themselves and talk about their stresses and about their day. And also to remember that children are also perceiving beings. They are also going through anxiety during this time. Let us give them space to talk. Let us hear them. Let us listen to what they are having to deal with. Away from their friends in school, away from their games, away from their friends in the neighborhood. What are they having to deal with? Let us talk about these things. Let us talk about the adjustment issues the family has to go through. If you have had to take a pay cut at this time, if your work has gone down completely, if you have lost your income, these are things we need to talk about at the family level. Children understand when we tell them now we will not be able to order the usual pizza that we normally get because mommy, daddy is not having enough money because of what is happening. The business has gone down. The company has decided to pay us less money. We don't have to give so many details of how much money you're getting, but we can tell them that the money you're getting is not as much as what you're getting before, so that they lower also their expectations. If we are not talking about our losses at the family level, we leave other people with expectations, and they'll be asking questions, they'll be asking for things, and then you do not know what to say. If we are experiencing any losses, or there is any sickness or terminal illnesses, these are some of the things that really stress children and cause them psychological distress. Let us share with them. Mommy, daddy is unwell, but they are being treated and they'll be okay. Even if it is catching COVID-19, that we can be able to share this and resolve it at the family level. But they are not observing inconsistencies, they are not observing mommy is sad, they are picking those vibes and they are feeling like what is going on, and they are confused. And for the couples, as you speak out, let us do this respectfully. We are not being contemptuous. We are not being critical of one another as we speak out. We are not constantly criticizing one another. Remember, you are role models to your children. And as you criticize one another and you call each other names, you're hurting them. And they're also copying you, because children are monkey see, monkey do. What you're doing, that is what they will start doing. Let us avoid, in communicating, let us avoid stonewalling and withdrawing from one another. If you need space to just process what you're dealing with, ask for that time. Talk about you not being able to talk about that issue in the here and now, but you'll come back to it. But don't withdraw and isolate and build a wall around you, what we call stonewalling, from your partner, and leave them hurting. And for those who talk a lot, for those who have a sharp tongue, this is not the time to criticize. This is not the time to look out for the smallest of mistakes, because everybody is having to deal with an adjustment issue, whether it is from friends or from work or finances or something they have to deal with. Let us be careful to speak out, but also speak out in a healthy way. Speak out assertively where you're listening to others, but you're also speaking and respecting the others as you do it. The how you speak is so important. Sometimes it is not even what you say, it is how you say it, which takes care of the relationship. On to our last S, social connections, keeping our relationships alive. And in social connections is that as we keep our relationships at home healthy, we have other people in our lives. We have extended family, we have siblings, we have parents, we have colleagues that we were so close in the workplace that we are not being able to meet every day, that we can call each other out and check on one another and create that time. Remember, number one, the structure, that you will have created some time and some space for calling out your friends, for calling out your parents, your siblings, and checking on them. If you know somebody who is going through a tough time, somebody who could be going through even a mental illness, a terminal illness, or a sort of a sickness, or has had to take a pay cut, this is time to look out for them, to support one another. And while at that we can keep the videos, the platforms that we can utilize, the Zoom, the Skype, the WhatsApp video, Google Hangouts, all those, so that we are able to see one another and be able to engage with one another. And as we do that, we'll be able to keep this social isolation at bay in a way, because as psychologists, we are talking more about physical distancing, not social isolations, because we can be able to reach out to one another, find out what is happening with our friends, our family members, and be able to support where we can, even if financially, because we can even send them M-Pesa. We can do something to support them. We can send a delivery. We can get a boda to take something to the person, or some groceries. So in a way, then our social connections are still can be maintained, and that will help us. And even when we talk about social connections, I want to add one more about spirituality, because this is how we connect with God. This is a time to do your reflection. This is the time to ask yourself how you connect with your God. How much time are you spending relating with Him as well, if you're a spiritual person? So that then you're also building your inner person. As you build your inner person by understanding your purposes, by doing your prayer, by you doing your meditation, and also as you keep your relationships alive, you're going to find your life more enjoyable. You're going to find yourself enjoying life because you're taking time to know you. You're taking time to know your family. You're taking time to know God. You're taking time to know others and love others. And actually, even as you're working on your social connections, you're taking time to know those relationships that you will not go back to after this season, because you've discovered they are not helpful. They have not been healthy for you. But there are those who have reached out to you. There are those you have reached out to. There are those you have discovered you're there for one another, not necessarily for what you give, but for heart-to-heart conversations, heart-to-heart relationships. And men, please listen here, because you're the ones probably sometimes we fall short of those heart-to-heart connections. Reach out to one man or two that you can build a healthy relationship with, that you can be reaching out to during this time. I want to imagine the men who are being socially isolated because of COVID, physically isolated because of COVID-19. You have to go on quarantine. What that means when you're used to having your colleagues at the workplace, your family, but now you're in a room alone. this must be really tough. So in this season, let us look out for anybody who could be vulnerable in one way or another and be able to keep the social connections alive. So when we are able to do this, these are just few tips. We will be able to give much more. And it just going back to all this that we have said that you can look out for. We started with the first S, the structure. Having a structure for time, having a structure for activities, having a structure for when you do what, with who, alone sometimes or with your family members. The other one is about space. Having space for doing things together, physical space, and I talked about psychological, emotional space, where you can have space alone and you also respect each other's space. Having space for where to do your work as well. And to the third S, and a very important one, self-care. Knowing that what you cannot give what you do not have. That when you've taken care of yourself, you'll be able to take care of your relationships. You'll be able to invest in healthy relationships. So take note, take care of yourself. Don't load it on others. And on to the fourth S, speaking out, expressing yourself, and allowing your children, as young as they may be, to talk. Allowing your partner to talk and avoiding negative communication, criticism, stonewalling, and avoiding others. And on to the last one, we talked about social connections. Social connections, time to keep yourself connected with friends and families out there through the platforms you may choose to use. And we also said keeping yourself connected to God and keeping yourself connected to self. And when we do this, you can be sure you're going to enjoy healthy relationships and be able to overcome together this season that we're trying to adjust to, so that we can be able to adjust better in post-COVID. Look out for my next episode that will be on couples relationships in this new series of building healthy relationships, especially during this time. Subscribe to my channel, Blossom with Dr. Nancy Nyaga. Please engage us. Drop a comment, ask a question, let us know what is going on. We will be sure to engage you. We will be able to overcome this season together. Thank you.